this is your first time to the show, welcome to the show. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be doing another one of those like mini workshop deals where I'm going to talk about something kind of specific but not try to sit here for an hour and bore you. Today, we're going to be talking all about these guys because it's winter. We're in winter. Let's be honest about that. It's not fall anymore. So we're going to be talking about spinners. Because this is like the best time of the year to slow roll these things and then just catch those big ones that are just kind of lurking. So we're going to talk about the different colors of the blades, better times to use those, and the better types of blades to use those. Whether it's like a tandem Colorado willow blade like this one, or a tandem willow blade, or a solo blade, or whatever. Because I've got a few options for spinners here. Granted, there's buzzbaits in here too, but we have a few options to talk about. So we'll go ahead and just get started out. Let me grab just a single bladed guy out of here because that's the simplest way to show. Here we go. This is one of my favorites anyway. And this guy is old. You can tell by his poor little skirt here. This is one of my grandfathers. I still use it. So spinnerbait, all it is you've got your wire, with or without loop. It might have a arch notch like that one does. Okay. You don't see looped ones very often anymore. It's kind of a thing that went by the wayside. And it goes to a weighted head, then a hook, and then one or two blades. This one is a single Colorado blade, okay? And you've got your skirt, you got all that stuff. You can trim up the skirt. The color of the skirt is, there's a lot of options. So we'll start out by talking about the blades. So we all know that Colorado blades put off a ton of vibration, okay? Willow blades put off a ton of flash. Copper blades and like your brass blades, that's more for like your darker tan and tannic water. Silver is great for tannic water. You can use it there too, but it really shines in crystal clear water. And that doesn't mean to say that you can't throw a copper blade in tannic water or dirty water. You can. Or I mean in clear water. You can throw a copper blade in clear water. Anyway. But, so, you get maximum vibrations from your Colorado. So, like this guy, it's all black. Nothing real showy about this. This, I love throwing in those, like, less than 2 feet visibility lakes, and then just kind of crawl this guy around a little bit. And then pop my rod so the skirt all flares out and everything. Anything that picks up on these vibrations, especially this time of year, they're going to smack it. They're going to smack it really, really good. Now, if I'm fishing somewhere where the water clarity is like, let's just say like 3 to 7 feet. That's pretty clear for most of you guys. That's super, super clear. And I'll even throw this in less than that. So you've got your one willow blade, typically silver. Usually always throw silver willow blades. And then this one has a kind of a brass colored Colorado blade. So you're getting a lot of flash, a tremendous amount of flash, but you're still getting a little bit of vibration. While this one, you don't have that second blade as an option. Okay, so this really is the best of both worlds right there. And that's why this is your most typical spinner that you will see. Now you will see still a lot of double willows, okay? I don't hardly ever see single Colorados very often. especially if you go to a store, you're probably not going to find single Colorados, except for you guys that live in the South, maybe. But it's something to keep in mind for that dark water days. Skirts, you can change them out. Clearer water, you're obviously going to have something like this. This is supposed to look like a bluegill, okay? And I paired it up with a little Biospawn paddle tail. I have absolutely wrecked plenty of big bass. Well, northwestern big bass this last year on this exact bait. And it's just been a solid 1-2 punch for me. Not near as many fish as I have whacked on this guy in dark water. Other thing to keep in mind is with your watercolors, it's going to vary, especially if you get into darker water. You're going to want to go, you can get away with black, that's fine. I'll throw black, straight black, in clear water too, because I think the fish see it as a silhouette, especially on some of those like brighter days, but it's pretty windy. I like to throw black because it's a silhouette. Double willow, clear lakes all day long. I'll even match up like different color trailers that don't really match my bait, and that's fine. You can do that. You can totally do that. Or you can match them up as best as you can, and that works awesome too. Especially if you're slow rolling it, they're going to see it. So if your water's clear, you're going to want to match pretty well. Okay? And then other things that you guys can do when you're retrieving these on those slow rolls, kind of just pop it for a second. As this is falling, your trailer still has a lot of action. And the trailer is very, very important. Don't ever fish a spinner without a trailer, okay? Not only does this trailer impart a lot of action into the bait, also when you let it just kind of fall and glide, the skirt kind of poofs out and this trailer is still kicking, still doing its job. But there's a even more important reason why you should never not throw a trailer on a spinner. Okay, let me grab a bare one here. Here we go. Okay, this is kind of a unique one with these half crescent blades. If the idea is behind these half crescent blades is to get a lot of light, but also to get a lot of thump. I've had mixed results with it. Okay, so let's take a look at this, okay? No trailer on it. It's essentially a hook with a weight and a skirt, okay? And this is something that makes spinners different than jigs. You can throw a jig without a trailer. It's not ideal, but it's still very likely that you're going to get the hook up. On spinners, not so much, because this is a moving bait, and when a bass comes up and opens their mouth underwater, it basically acts like a vacuum, so it pulls anything in. So the trailer, besides the fact that it imparts action on it, it slows descent, and it just kind of completes the picture here. Is it gives something a mass for when they open their mouth to strike, to pull your bait back into their mouth. Okay? And that will drastically change things. And you might not want to put a paddle tail on. You might not want to, yeah, we'll put a paddle tail on, because I absolutely love paddle tails on my spinners. There is another option. And I just had, okay, here it is. Wow. As soon as I start talking, my throat gets all dry. These are from Zoom. Okay. It's called a split tail trailer. Okay. This is the Glimmer Blue. Okay. I bought these So if I didn't want to have any kind of trailer, I wanted a trailer that would kind of just match everything or be non-noticeable enough that it didn't matter. Okay? And all this is, it's got two little dangly guys there, okay? But this is very important because it's enough to impart that mass upon the bait so the fish has something drawn. It's not very big. It doesn't add drag. So those of you guys worrying about that extra drag, it adds almost absolutely none. Okay? And once you start fishing baits or spinners, you'll understand why some guys worry about drag on spinners. Okay? It's kind of one of those things that you'll understand when you do it. Okay? So this might not look appetizing, but it adds size, visual size to the bait. But most importantly, it adds that mass. These don't really do a whole lot in the water. They kind of kick a little bit. Super subtle. But it adds that mass. So the bass has something to suck into their mouth when they open it. And that's really, really important to keep in mind. Wow, that actually looks really good on there. Pretty impressed with that. But yeah, guys, I mean, when you're in the springtime and the fish are awake and your water temperatures are up, I shouldn't say spring, like late spring, like mid-late spawn, okay? When you're throwing your spinners, you can throw these guys a foot, 2 foot. I throw these straight through the weeds because these are essentially completely weedless to begin with. And you can fish them from absolutely basically dirt shallow all the way to as deep as you want. You just pause. And you're going to let that trailer impart that falling action, okay? And it does all the work for you. So one thing I will definitely recommend if somebody's starting out spinner fishing, for your first spinner, do what you can to try to find a Colorado or even a tandem Colorado, okay? So you can feel those vibrations, and then when the bass hits, you'll feel it more because those vibrations will become disrupted, and it'll make you feel the difference between a strike and a weed. Because you can fish these straight through the weeds, you can fish these straight through the rocks, you can skip these underneath docks. This is actually the type of bait that I learned how to skip with, and it's super, super effective, especially with a trailer. Without a trailer, you'd have to be really good at skipping to skip it without a trailer. But yeah, it's that mass. So when you're fishing it, you always want to make sure that it also stays true. So this is gonna be hard to show you guys. See how this hook basically lines up perfectly with that bladed arm? Okay, yeah, it's gonna be really hard to show you guys. So that hook lines up almost perfectly with that bladed arm, okay? And that helps reduce drag and reduces the chances of you snagging on anything, because anything that's going to want to try to hit that hook has to pass by this arm. And this arm will just bump off of stuff. You'll be going through a log or whatever, bump off that. Or if there's like a stick or something that hits it, it'll bump it and it'll just swing back over. Spinners are amazing, and that's why I have so many. And I keep them in this book. These are the spinners that I usually take with me all the time. And I found this to be about the easiest way to store them. Of course, you got to keep in mind what your trailer is, so you don't mix up and accidentally put like a Z-Man plastic in with, well, basically anything. Because that's just going to turn into a molten mess. But I really like this book. This is how I keep all my spinners. And it's pretty small and compact. I keep a lot of other things in here too. Like I'll throw, okay, so there's some swim baits, big swim baits. I keep extra trailers back here too. And that's another thing actually. Now that I've got this opened up here, your trailer doesn't have to be, even if you're not, even if you don't want to use something like this, you can use something like a oh wow, I can't think of it. A soft plastic jerkbait. You can use that as a trailer just to add mass, or even something like the Yodo worm, for example. That's a fantastic just add mass now trailer. I use this in dark, dirty water, kind of tannic. Smallmouth love this thing. Unfortunately, it's lunker hunt, but it's a double Colorado blade. This thing hits hard, and I can move this thing pretty quickly. Now, depending on your trailer and the size of your trailer, so let's see here. I don't have. It doesn't really actually matter. Wow, just dropping everything today. It's one of those days, guys. It's been one of those weeks. Who am I kidding? So, the paddle tail on this, okay, versus like this Guggenbait one, okay. So this is a much larger tail, so it's going to kick a lot harder, which is going to create more drag, okay. So you'll be able to slow roll this a little bit easier because it has that larger tail. Or, because this is Colorado and willow, you can vary your speed and go double willow with a smaller tail. Or you can change it up. Now another thing that I'll bring up, your weight of your bait. Say like this is a 3/8. If I threw this out and somebody threw out, say, a 1/4 ounce swim bait with no trailer on it, this and 1/4 are going to fall about the same rate because of the buoyancy and drag of this trailer. It really does change these that much because there's not that much to a spinnerbait other than the blades and the skirt. And the skirt is almost no drag. Some other, like, oh, there's some more fun double blades. Now, there are things, I haven't had much luck. Besides, like, the crescent moons, everybody kind of changes up the spinner a little bit. I haven't had much luck on these guys. Wow, okay, that's weird. Oh. The cycle baits, I haven't had a tremendous amount of luck with these. But I haven't actually really, I'll be honest, it was hard for me to put down a spinner I know that works to pick up this guy. So the idea behind this is it doesn't spin like a spinner. It makes the whole thing kind of wiggle and waggle through the water, so it kind of waves. I don't know. I got them because I had a discount, and I was like, you know what, I'll try them. I actually really hate this bait. The willow blade cycle bait is the only one with a free floating head, and sometimes when you cast it, the hook can actually get hooked on the blade. You can't do it when you're sitting here, but it will do it every once in a while when you cast, and it's annoying. Then you can get down here into like your smaller finesse spinner blades or spinner baits. Little 1/4 ounce guy, and I put one of those little Yodo worms like I was talking about earlier. This works great. And if you don't want a lot of flash but you want some flash, they got little blades, and this one's kind of unique because it's got that brass big willow with a silver little willow in tandem. Little 1/4 ounce guy. This is another really great bait. And I'm not gonna say that brand doesn't matter when it comes to baits, because I hate lunker hunt, but I like this spinner in particular. Um, but it's mostly about the hardware, and it's about the wire. Okay, so if you have something with like a super light wire, okay, you're gonna have to like turn it and bend it like when you catch fish, and there's a possibility with super light wire ones that it'll stretch out and bend and straighten out. It's not really that big of a deal unless you get into like super finesse ones, but sometimes you just don't need that gargantuan giant wire like this one. I think this is an old Strike King. I've had this a long time actually. It's called a Terminator. And this thing should be retired, or I should change the hardware. The biggest thing about them is, let's see if I can find... Okay, so like this old one of my grandpa's. If you look at the hardware here, I'm not hating on the old hardware, but you see this swivel here? Okay, that's just like a regular style swivel. Nothing special. It's just push up and a pin, and I mean, this works. This works fantastic. I love this lure. I do, however, I would like to eventually upgrade this swivel to wow, I should have picked that one up. That's all rusty. Here, we'll just look at this Guggen one. That nice ball bearing swivel. It does make a difference. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't make a difference, because it does. I'm not gonna knock on the ones that don't have ball bearing swivels, but keep that in mind. If they're asking like $10 for one, and it's got a regular swivel as part of the hardware, there better be something really, really particularly special about that bait to make up for that, because that's a huge drawback in my opinion. Some of you might disagree with me. That's fine. You can disagree with me. To each their own, man. But I love this thing, and it's got the old style swivel on it. I'm gonna change it eventually. It just hasn't happened yet. But yeah, this is just like a dive into, because we could start talking about different colors, different setups, different colors to match. That's a mute point right now. I want you guys to just get out there and try to slow roll some spinners. Go pick one up. Go pick a color that's pretty similar to a lot of other baits that you have luck with during other times of the year, and go ahead and go throw that. So if you live in like your home lake is like super dark, don't be afraid to get a black one. Don't be afraid to get whatever, you know. Don't be afraid to go grab a chartreuse one. Go grab something wild. If you got a lot of smallmouth, grab something. Oh, grab something like this guy. This is everything smallmouth hate. Oh, let me flip those blades over. Painted blades are so cool. Yeah. Smallmouth hate this thing. I love this thing. This thing works great. But that's the other thing, guys. Just pick up one or pick up two and just go try it. But make sure that you get a trailer. Anything as a trailer. Because I could sit here and we could go over all the trailer options that are out here, that are possible, that I use, but we're not gonna go through all this, because essentially all of my soft baits I use for either like Texas rigs, stuff like that, or I use them for trailers. Okay? That's all of these baits are basically just trailers for bladed jigs, spinner baits, and jigs. I bring too many trailers. I have a plethora of options. Okay? You guys don't need that. You need to keep it simple. Pick something that is on that color, on that wavelength, the size that you think. And yeah, spinners, they're big. They're kind of intimidating looking, but they right now and all throughout the whole year, they'll catch fish, and they'll catch decent fish because it is that larger profile. The fish that you catch might be fewer, but they're going to be better. Okay? And it was a hard toss-up for me to do the spinner video versus the jerkbait video, because those are my two favorite winter techniques, and we already talked about jigs, and I will throw a spinner or a jerkbait over a jig 80% of the time. That's just me, unless it's a bladed jig. I really love bladed jigs too, but winter I don't feel is the proper time for a bladed jig, especially where I live right now. And like right now, my water temperatures I think are probably in the 40s. I got snow on the ground outside. Yeah, it's time to slow roll. It's time to do jerk baits. It's time to do those things. But guys, just try it out. See what it does in your fishery. Pick one or two. I'm not saying go spend $50 on a spinner and get mad that it didn't perform. Go get a mid-range one. Don't get the cheapest one. And like 3/8, half ounce, stay in that range. Maybe if you have crappie in your lake or you have like good panfish, maybe grab a quarter just for fun. And don't be afraid to use different things as trailers. Like this has a giant grub tail on it. That's a great trailer. Paddle tail. This has a craw tail. Because at the time when I put that together, it made me happy. That's what I wanted to use. Just like a straight tail kind of worm going on. But at least get something. And if you can't decide that you want to use any of those things, I highly suggest that you pick up a pack of these anyway. I think this was like $3 or $4. Maybe $3 or $4. I've had this package for quite a while. I don't use these super often, but when I'm in those moments where I'm not decisive, or I don't want to use a paddle tail, or insert whatever, this is the go-to. You just gotta have something on the back of it for a trailer. Plus, you can use these for buzz baits. You can put these on blade. You can put these on absolutely anything, and it will make up that mass. But yeah, guys, just get out there, try it out. As far as like gear goes, you can throw it on spinning, you can throw it on a bait caster. Gear ratio wise, you can throw it on 7.2 this time of year to slow roll it. You're gonna have to reel really slowly. I'd say probably maybe like a 6.2 or a 7.2 would be perfect. 7.2 is going to be a little bit faster for this time of year, like I said. 8.2, I wouldn't throw this on a super high gear ratio. As far as for spinning, you can just throw it. Like, I've got some pretty fast high gear ratio spinning reels, and they're not too fast in the slightest bit. They're fine. I think one's like 6.2 and the other one's like 5.8. My RTX and my Stratic. As far as a pole, if you're going to be throwing half, if you're going to buy half or larger, go medium heavy. If you're going half and smaller, throw it on medium. I typically throw, if I'm throwing it bait casting, I throw it on medium heavy fast. If I throw it on spinning, I throw it on medium fast. And I stay right there about 6.10 to 7.2, 7.4. You don't have to have any fancy rod. Basically, any rod that's not basically like a tree branch will throw a spinner perfectly fine. You just need to be able to feel it. And you gotta know the difference between the bite, because not all the a lot of times they will come up and they will smash it and you will be just hooked right on. Sometimes it's not going to be like that. They're going to come up, they're going to latch on it and get off and just let go. That's the nature of the beast. So you just kind of got to feel it out. So you want something sensitive, but yeah, sensitive with backbone. Sounds like medium fast spinning to me, or medium heavy fast. Being single hook, depending on how you feel about it, depending on how you want to fish, you could throw moderate. I sometimes throw on moderate, but I recommend fast. Um, Definitely fluoro. Wouldn't I mean you can throw it on mono. It doesn't really matter, but I suggest fluoro because it has less stretch and there's a less tendency for you to not feel everything that you need to feel. And you can go braid to leader. If your water's really, really dark, you can go braid. Like really, really dark. Like let a foot to 2 foot. You can get with braid. Like 20, 30 pound braid. I wouldn't throw it on 60 pound braid. 20, 30. Or like, depending on your fishery and the size of fish that you have, 8 to 14 is prime. I love throwing on 12. I use 12 for basically everything. There's a lot of guys that throw, well, I'm guilty of it too. When you throw bigger than half, bump up to like 16 to 20. You probably get away with 14, but 16 to 20. And you'll feel it out. And it's okay. Sometimes the line will get caught up in the blades when you cast. That's fine. Just feel it out. You'll notice it as soon as it hits the water. It's either going to sink and you start to reel and it's going to work. You'll feel it when all the blades and everything engage. It'll be like a pop on it when you first start reeling on it and you get all that slack out and it goes tight. It's like a shock. Little shock. It's cool. Yeah. That's the recommendation. Baitcaster, medium heavy fast. Spinning, medium fast. Comfortable with moderate, do moderate. Don't go a crazy high gear ratio. And please use a trailer. I don't care what your trailer is. You can use anything you want as a trailer. You want to use half a Cinco for a trailer? Do it. I've done it. You want to use a Ned bait for a trailer? Do it. Just put something on there to give it mass. And it doesn't matter if it pokes out of the skirt or not. There's a lot of spinners out there with extra long skirts that have parts of it that hang down farther than the rest of it. So you don't have to use a trailer. It still needs the mass. Okay? Use a trailer. But yeah, I'm gonna stop because I could go on for quite a while longer. Use a trailer. Be safe. Wear a life jacket. Tell somebody where you're going. Alright? Take care out there, guys. Go pick up a spinnerbait. Don't care what brand. I don't care whatever. Just try it out. It's cool. This time of year opens up huge fishing opportunities. During the rest of the year, you can still smash them. You can fish them fast. You can fish them slow. You can fish them deep. You can fish them shallow. You can fish them absolutely anywhere. You can fish them in the dark. You can fish them in broad daylight. Alright, guys. Take care. I'm officially out. Peace.